I just hit add again, Chico. Don Lopez.
Hey man, I'm gonna tell you, it's a pleasure to be here. And I was feeding some dogs, and I almost forgot I was supposed to be here with you guys. Man, you look sharp. It's good to see you, man. You looking like you're running for president, you know?
Man, cut it out. I'm trying to keep up with you. I told the wife,
Man,
there's
let
little
me
too.
put somebody with that thing. I'm having trying to hear you a little better. My wife's trying to get online so I can hear you.
Okay.
So what's going on?
Oh, I
Hello
can't
to
call it.
everybody.
Yes, sir. So this is Don Chico Lopez, you guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you a little bit. Go ahead.
This is Don Chico Lopez, you guys. This is the world-class breeder of the global champion, the Bagman, Cesar the Great, Copperhead, all of those world-famous and world-class dogs. And I don't have to prime him up. I don't have to, push him up for who he is. He's an international dog man. And I was just telling him, Chico, I said, a lot of people say, well, why would you bring a man on that does bulldogs? Why would this and why that? Well, why not? Because breeding is breeding. This man's mind, it needs to be exposed, and he needs to speak out. A lot of people don't know him, and a lot of people have never heard of him, but some have that are on here tonight. And, he's went all over the world. Like I was telling the crowd, Chico, I said, he's had 4 dogs, dog of the year, and so many grand champions, 1 and 2-time winners. I mean, before it's all said and done, he will be probably one of the greatest dog men that went down in history. Thus far, right now, there's not anybody doing it on his level. But I wanted to ask him a few questions, because he's just that kind of guy. To me, I look at him as a mentor and a friend and a brother. He's a powerful figure to the dog world. Whether you breed hunting dogs, whether you breed huskies, whether you breed Jack Russells, if they're working dogs, this man, he has a voice. His itinerary, his resume is powerful as far as what he's done. Judging I can't even begin to describe it. But Don Chico, if you will tell the people a little bit about you and who you are and what you stand for with only the chosen few, and I'll chime in to ask you a question if you don't mind.
Well, my friend, hello to everybody. I don't know if you can hear me. If you can hear me, please type something, say something. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, give me.
I can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Let's get some thumbs.
Good evening to everybody. Hello from Brazil, and I can see that Ivan Sanchez, the chosen few, my great friend, Puerto Rican, living in Georgia, he getting in here as well. And I see some people that are in the pits also getting in there. I guess they're seeing this on my page. But I can tell you about myself. I'm just a regular guy that has a lot of passion. I got into the dogs because of the street level Pitbull that turned out to be a legend, an amazing dog. And we've been talking to a couple of friends. My friend says, man, you were doing so good in your life. You were 21-year-old, and you were doing so great financially, making some good money, and had a great future. But then the dogs derailed you. I said, well, it's a passion that got me. It took me over, and I just went in with the dogs. I went head on with the dogs. So it was always very difficult to navigate in the world of the dogs because you must understand that the dogs are competitive. You understand the dogs are competition animals. And so the people that are in the dogs, they're also competing among themselves. And, that brings a lot of egos, all of us. Ego on winning is like the most powerful tool. You got to have a lot of things that drive you. And one of those, believe it or not, is ego. There's bad ego and there's good ego. And so the ego of winning and the smell of winning is very important. But, when it comes to the dogs, before I got to the dogs, actually, I used to love drag racing, and I used to admire the great guys from drag racing professionals like John Force and all these achievements. I mean, he's the man of the men. So you start to learn these habits of what the greats do in order to be the greats everywhere.
Absolutely.
So the same tenacity, the same super hard work, just like Michael Jordan, people will go to the gym and they'll go at 7 o'clock in the morning, says they'll touch the hood and it's cold. The hood of his car, the parking lot says it's cold. They come at 6 o'clock in the morning and it's cold. They come at 5 o'clock in the morning and the hood in his car is closed, cold. They say, at what time did he show up? 4:30 in the morning, Michael Jordan is already working in it. So you do have to pay your price. And one of the biggest faults that I discovered in the dogs was the people. The people in the dogs was the major hurdle for growth. And I discovered that early on. So what I said is this. I said, it's so difficult for you to grow and navigate through all the pity stuff and all the crap on the competition with the dogs. And I said, I cannot learn from these guys. None of these top guys are at the level of a Michael Jordan or at the level of a John Force. And I saw their process, that everything they do is not really professional to the T. So I knew that I had to go through it myself. So I give you a condensated version. I did everything at the beginning with a lot of instinct, and my whole story is like a Forrest Gump type of story. It is totally amazing. When I go back and I say, wow, how did that happen in my life with the dogs? How did I end up here? How did I survive that area? And literally the best teachers have always been my dogs. My dogs always are the best teachers. So you got to be a master of observing. Before you become a master of winning, you got to know how not to lose. So there's 3 areas that I discovered through my life. 3 very special areas, and you can apply this to about just any animal. And it happens to the horseman. It happens to everybody. If you really want to have an exposure in your life as a person of growth, there's 3 major areas. I believe that number 2 should be number 1. But we don't get attracted to the dogs because of the culture of the dogs. We get attracted to the dogs because of the genetics. We get attracted to the dogs because of what the dogs do. The great dogmen will always get to the dogs because they love the dogs. It's not because they love the gambling. It's really not because they love this hunting. They literally love the dogs. They love the function of the dog. And you got to be someone that really admires the best of the best. If you don't admire the best of the best, if you settle for less than the best of the best, if you settle for what you have, you'll have a problem. And I always said, Chico, what will be the biggest problem you find in people? And I said, the biggest problem you find in people is what they already know and what they already have. Because a lot of people say, oh, I know this much, and they don't grow and learn more because they already know that much. And they say, well, I don't want to get that dog because I already have great dogs. I have good dogs. And to me, just like, Jim Collins says in his book, From Good to Great, good is the enemy of great, my friend. Don't forget that. You have good schools. Because you have good schools, you don't have great schools. Because you have a good car, you don't have a great car. Because you have a good dog and you set up with a dog, you don't have a great dog. So it's the same thing. So there's 3 different areas. Number 1 is going to be genetics. Genetics is really what attracts us to the dogs. Their functionality and the dogs. The second thing is that you got to pay attention is the culture. Who you surround by yourself. If you're a winner before you become a dogman, the chances of you to become a winner in the dogs, that you become great and achieve something in the dogs and put something of yourself in the dogs is going to be because you're already a winner. It's like hiring somebody. I learned this from hiring people. I'm interviewing somebody and that person comes into my office and they're experts on some area, but they're looking for a job. Then I think about if they're so experts, why are they looking for a job? That's number 1. And number 2, if they really know what they're doing, why they're looking for the job, and maybe what they know is going to be a problem. So what happens is, a lot of the time, the best guy in the dogs is the one that hasn't joined the dogs yet. So you got to have a culture. You ask a person, say, have you ever been number 1 in anything? When you were a Boy Scout, when you were a kid, were you a Boy Scout, were you an Eagle Scout? When you were in the basketball team, were you the number 1 guy? Have you ever had the desire to be number 1? You're always going to have a guy that wants to be number 1. And that desire of being number 1 is really what drives you to be the greatest, always. So your culture is very important for you to get the best genetics. Because if you don't find those best genetics, you're going to have to create them. And that takes me to number 3. Number 3 is going to be your inner core. It's going to be what makes you the greatest dogman in the world. Because you really have that inner core. But most of the times, because of the culture and because of the competitive environment, you don't get to know these things from the people. The ones that know it, most of the time they share it with you. The ones that know it, sometimes they don't have the time to give it to you. And because it's competitive, why would they tell you the recipe of success when it's a competitive world? So it's very difficult. So the best thing I discovered was for me to walk with my dogs late at night, 3, 4 in the morning. I remember Victor Akar, good friend of mine, the owner of Grand Champion Mayday. He came and says, I got this call from Connecticut. At the time, I used to live in the Bronx. That's why some people know me as Chico from the Bronx. And what happens is, I was just a rookie. I had this street dog that it was amazing. And somebody told him, I said, there's one guy in the Bronx, got a really badass street dog. And the guy is buying dogs from everybody, paying top dollars. But this guy is walking his puppies and his dogs without really knowing what he's doing till 3, 4 in the morning. And he said, Victor said, I want the guy to have my dogs. You see, Victor was smart. And he sent somebody, which was Angel Lahara, to drive from Connecticut at 2 in the morning. And he went and he talked to the ex-wife, hey, we're looking for Chico Lopez. He said, well, he's not here. He's at the park working with his dogs. He went there. He said he sat down for 1 hour just watching me. And he came to me and says, hi, my name is Angel Lahara. Victor Akar sent me to talk with you. He says, you know who he is? I said, yeah. He said, the owner of Mayday. I said, yeah. He says, he's very invested on your growth. I've been watching you. There's a lot of things you're doing wrong. But your passion for the dogs, I never seen anything like it. So that passion right there, some people saw it in me. And I just kept on going with it, kept on going with it. So, I failed many times. I lost to some of the best. I won versus some of the best. And some of the ones that were not the very best. It just happens. Make so many mistakes. Let me tell you something. You cannot learn how to win consistently if you don't know how to lose. And what happens is, every time I fail, I learn how to fail forward rather than failing backwards. Every lesson, it was there. My ego screwed me so many times. I will show up not prepared, and then I learn, and I learn, and learn. And as I go through a cycle of my life, and I finish this, and I say, you know what, I got all these grand champions, all these champions, being around the world several times. I'm at a stage in my life that a good friend of mine that worked at NASA for a long, long time, he came and he says, I got a question for you. He said, now